Hi Flosstube, welcome to the Twisted Stitcher. My name is Alicia and this is my channel all about cross stitch. I am new around here, so please bear with me as I learn to navigate this whole Flosstube video thingy. I'm not real proficient in the editing and all of that stuff, so this video probably will not be edited. I need to do some research and figure out how to add pictures and timestamp and all that kind of stuff. So it is a process. I'll get there at some point. If you have any suggestions about videos or any type of information that might help me find one. I mean, they say there's a bunch of free ones out there, but they won't do what I thought they were supposed to do, I guess, unless you pay for them. So, but I'm like, you said they were free, and I'm not one for everything free. I'm just saying, they say it will work under free, but yet, like if you're trying to cut a little section of video out or something like that, it's not an option that's on the free side of things or something. So I'm just trying to figure out which type of editor to do simple basic stuff. I'm not trying to be like over the top and put all these little sparkly glitter things and all that stuff. I'm just not into all that. I just want to make sure, like, if I say something stupid, I can cut it out. Or enter a picture that, insert a picture and I can do, here or here or whatever. I'm being funny. Anyway, so ice breaking, really. If you have any suggestions on video editing software that works for you, if you know any, maybe you don't use it and you don't know, that's okay too. I'm sure I'll figure one out. I'm just navigating and learning the ropes right now, so I appreciate that. And I also appreciate you stopping by and checking out my channel today. Like I said, this is my first Flosstube video. So what my plans are today, I want to show you some projects that I've completed over the years. They are not framed yet. We bought a house a couple years ago, and it was like in a very, very fast-paced, throw it in a box and let's roll, because I mean it closed real fast on us, so we were kind of panicking. So I'm still going through boxes. Anyone that has moved or bought a house and moved, anybody has ever moved anywhere, I'm sure, regardless if you bought a house or you're just renting, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, it feels like you get the majority of the stuff out, but then it's like you burn out, and then you have crap stuck in boxes, and you're like, I'll get to it when I get to it. And here we are 3 years later, and I'm like, where did this box come from? I thought I had already unpacked everything, but I ran across some stuff. And this is where, thank God that I had it stuck in, inside the house in a closet. It was just a little bit of a small box. I thought it had my daughter's books in it, like the keepsakes type books in it. And actually it had these finished projects that I had laid in there. They were cleaned, and they had been ironed, but because of the shifting, they kind of wrinkled up a little bit, but not too bad. So I had this I had this mystery box, which I thought had books in it, and it was actually this, and I was like, good grief, how do you have this stuff and then you forget you even have it? So, and when I found it, I was like, really? How did it slip by? But I thought I had everything, and I thought it was in another box, honestly, but apparently it was not. And like I said, it happened, our move was like, you got to go. So it was, at some point, we're just kind of start throwing stuff in, and we got gone. So anyway, I am a full coverage stitcher for the most part. I do have some smaller stuff that I've been working on through the years, and I call it cross stitch baggage, because I'm still dragging it through the years. This stuff should have already been done, but if you know what I'm talking about, you If you know, you know, and you know exactly. And I'm going to call you out because I have it too. And we're not any better because we all have it, right? I am a jokester, so please excuse if it's not funny to you. I get it. Not everybody's funny. But I'm sure that I'm going to have some jokes and stuff along the way. Funny stories. My dad was military, so there are sayings that you'll probably be like, what did she just say? As an example, geedunks. That was snacky food, like cakes, cookies, chips, stuff like that. My brother, growing up, he used to hit the chips a lot, stuff like that. So then, of course, when my dad would go in there to make his lunch, the chips were gone or there was very little left or whatever. And I remember hearing my dad yell through the house, "Who got into the geedunks?" So that's one of the words. A lot of military people know or have heard that word. So if you don't know military term, I'm here. I will educate you. I am almost 50 years old. So I'll teach you some stuff. So hang tight because it'll get funny around here. I am a doxy mom. I have 2 wiener dogs, dachshunds. So the wiener jokes around here are off the chain also. As of yesterday, I'm in the state of South Carolina, not as of yesterday. That was 2 different things I was getting ready to say. I am I'm on the outskirts of Charleston, South Carolina. Yesterday, our temperature was like 92, but the heat index here is off the chain already also. Just, it's like you open the door and hell's fire just comes through the door at you, and it's like almost like you're trying to breathe in a plastic bag. It is so stifling sometimes. And for it to be May rolling into June, we normally are starting to warm up, but not like this. So this is like a snap of hot that is just, it's coming and there's no way to stop it. Which is probably the reason why I like the cooler months. You know, the cool, crisp November, December, January, fall, winter stuff. I like that so much better because it's easier to breathe. But our summers can be hell on wheels here. So anyway, yesterday the temperature was 92 and the humidity was real bad. So on the news, they've been saying, you know, just be careful if you have animals, you let them out. Don't let them stay out too long. You know, it's just the safety part of it all, right? So yesterday, I let these 2 little wiener dogs that I have out to go do their business. I caught a phone call and I went back to them. It was not even like 5 minutes. So I go to the back door and my dogs, I can see through the glass on the door. My 2 dogs are out in the back of the yard underneath the trees, and their tongues are hanging out the side of their face like they're just dying out there. And I was like, oh my God, they just looked terrible. They looked like they were just dying out there. So I went to the back door and opened, and I was calling them, and they were just like slow moving, like, oh God, Mom, open the door. Thank you, thank you. But it was just taking them so long to like just build up the momentum to start hurrying across the yard. They're just wiped out because the humidity just came in like just bad. It was just bad. So, as they were making it across the yard, I started snickering. I was like, it's a good thing I come. And I started talking to myself. I was like, it's a good thing I come to get them because I could have had cooked wieners in the yard. So they come in and they just had this like, oh God, thanks Mom. Oh, thanks Mom for letting us in. But they went into the living room and they laid there and chilled, I know, for an hour. A little while later, they came through. You know, And when I went to pick up my little boy, he was burning up. I mean, he was just hot. And I was like, you really did get cooked out there, right? They're absolutely the cutest. They're funny dogs. Personalities, just unbelievable. They're unmatched. I grew up with labs, so I'm familiar with, that laid back disposition. These dogs are full of energy and personality, like just off the chain, stellar personality. My little boy, he's a lovey-dovey, and my girl is, I think she thinks she's part cat or something. I mean, she's just like that big, oversized, fluffy cat. Both of mine are short hair. They're not fluffy by far, but those big fluffy cats, they just lay and they're just like, bleh. She thinks she's a cat. She gets up on the back of the couch and she just lays there. She likes to sleep. The other one will run laps around your feet. So I don't know. I haven't figured that out. I don't know if it's like a male versus female type of trait in these dogs, or what. I don't know. Maybe it's just them, because they're all different. Personalities are a lot the same, but yet they're different in ways too. So I'm thinking it's more like boy and girl, so you can tell the difference between the two. But anyway, those are my dogs. I'm sure that you'll meet them at some point. They'll be running in and out. I believe they're in the other room taking their little afternoon nap right now, so they're quiet. Let's see, what else can we talk about? I've been stitching since I was 13. My best friend taught me how to stitch. But of course, life happens. We grow up, we, move away. And she still stitches, but she's wherever she is. She's not going to give it up. Just like I'm not. I've been stitching for so long. But speaking of stitching so long, the way cross stitch used to be years ago, is just like the changing of times, right? How, the kits used to look, they were just so basic and more pixelated then versus what they look like now. Our hobby has become so much better than it has ever been. You have more colors now, shadings, or shades of color. The overall patterns are more detailed. They're beautiful, right? And I'm sure that you guys know that too. I mean, there's patterns out there. You're like, I don't even know how you managed to get that into a pattern. It's got so much detail, but yet it's very, very exciting. It's very exciting to see how these patterns turn out. You see the pattern this specific way, but once it's stitched, it's almost like you're just in awe of what has been stitched. These people are stitching stuff. You see it all over Facebook, or their updates in their Flosstubes, and you're like, man, that thing looks great. So I am so grateful to see that that our hobby has gotten better with age, which most things do, like wine and cheese, they get better with age. But definitely how much our cross stitch hobby has changed over the years. So, and it's invigorating, it's inspiring. Speaking of inspiring, this is a non-name calling shout out to our Flosstube content creators. If you are a Flosstube content creator, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I once upon a time, since this is my first video, have just watched a lot of Flosstubers, and I want to say thank you very much, because you have inspired A lot of us, not just me, but the ones of, us out here that don't have channels, please excuse me while I stutter. You've inspired us in so many ways, showing us what you're working on or informing us of these new patterns, or where you can get them. I mean, it's like you just walked through the house and flipped on all the lights. You have turned on, you've turned on the lights to all of these new, what am I thinking of? And I just went completely blank. The new designers, like HAED, Artecy, Carolyn Manning, all of these. These are three that I definitely have, and I'm working on their, some of their products or their patterns, and I am so inspired by what I see on these. So I want to say thank you very much for inspiring all of us out here that you don't know. You don't realize what you are doing by giving us the insight, what you know, where you know to go to get these patterns, or designers, the artists, things of that nature. So thank you very, very much. And let's see, what else do I want to say? If you have any questions or comments on anything I'm going to show you today, please leave me some questions and comments in the bottom, in the comment section. I don't tend to meet a stranger. And I just want to show you some stuff that I've been working on. My plans overall, I want to be able to do some videos, some more videos, obviously, to show you some of the other projects I'm working on. I want to do some chat and stitch with me's just to get more familiar with the viewers. And I mean, I've been doing this a long time. There's a lot of stuff that I know. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know. Things that I do know, I want to be able to share them with you. Just like the other floss tubers have shared so much with all of us. I want to be able to help and spread the education also. But other than that, I hope I haven't been like too long-winded and rambly and all that kind of stuff. But let's just move into showing you what I've completed. But again, thanks guys for bearing with me and, having grace with me today, because this is all new and it's hard to navigate, and you don't realize just how hard it is to create a video, especially your first one. So please excuse my ignorance of what I don't know, or if I am being long-winded, I don't mean to be. So we're going to go ahead and start moving off to other things. Okay, so the first one I want to show you, this one dates back to 1997. This was the very first piece that I had ever purchased that was this big. And at this time, 11 by 14-ish is not super huge. It's not big. I mean, when you're talking about like HAED and Artecy and some of these other, they're not, 11 by 14 is not big. But for it to be your very first project, it looks big and it seems to be intimidating. And believe me, with this one, I was intimidated. But then when I finished, I wasn't so much intimidated anymore. I do not have a whole lot of information on this one. It is called the Flower Shop. I did some digging to see if I could find like who charted this or who the company was that put this out. It was a kit, kind of like Dimensions, but this one was not Dimensions. But I found, it looks like the name of the company was Butterick, Butterick. It was an Heirlooms Classic, and it's called Flower Shop. number 5282, so you know it's going to be, they gave numbers to stuff instead of just basic names like they do now, so you know it's old. This was my very first piece. eBay, I did find 2 sellers on eBay that has this this project as a full kit. It had never been, let me move it around so you can see a little better. It's a full kit. It was brand new. Everything was in the package. They were selling it for like $16 and $17. So if you're interested, you could go check out eBay. Unless you want to do, you know, your own research and see if you can come up with, maybe there might be like an archive with the company. You might be able to email them and say, hey, look here, I want this pattern. Can you help me out? They might be able to get back to you. I don't know if they have a website. I just guess, kind of assumed that they would. But with it being so long ago, I don't even know if they're in business anymore. I haven't seen anything that they've put out since I purchased this one. But I don't know. So good luck with whatever you do. Anyway, so this is, it actually said Jill's Flower Shop here, but you know, you can customize it. This is my name, so I put my name in it. I'm going to bring it in for you so you can see. It's just large pieces of block coloring in this, but I never had anything quite as big, and it felt intimidating while I was doing this. But like I said, with it being my first big project, I managed, but it took me a while. It has some backstitch in it, but not a whole lot. It was mainly like just around the door frame, around the cat, and you know, the wood floor and the steps. There wasn't a whole lot of backstitch in it. A little bit under the window, little squares under the window. But that was all the backstitching that I had called for. So this one was my first piece. And that is all I have to say about that one. The next piece I'm going to show you is one that I had gotten off of Etsy several years back. I don't remember the name of the Etsy shop that I got it from. But in the, I guess like the search bar on the Etsy website, if you put the name in, it's called Proud Rooster cross stitch pattern. It should pop up, should generate for you. This one I purchased a while back also. But I don't know. I don't have anything. I don't have like the cover page or anything. But anyway, so this is called Proud Rooster. I'm trying to make sure that you can see it. Isn't he beautiful? I love this. I don't remember how many colors he had in him. I'll bring you into the tail so you can see. He had a lot of colors in him, but he turned out beautifully. I remember going to Joann's and pulling floss for him, and I was like, how many colors is in this bird? I mean, for crying out loud. So I want to say he had about 20 colors in him, 24, but of course, I mean, for me to have the pattern and then have to go get the materials, this was the very first time I had ever had to go get materials for myself, because just about everything I ever worked that I know of came in a kit, but that's how it was all those years ago. It was like everything. There was kits galore, and they were huge. But this was the very first piece that I had ever done on my own where I had to go buy the Aida and I had to buy the floss. So that is Proud Rooster, and he came from Etsy. When I had gotten these, I printed them out to have the pattern for it, and when I finished it, I just like, I'm done. So I threw all that stuff away, and now I'm like, man. But of course, I didn't realize I was going to be doing a YouTube channel to actually, or a Flosstube channel, that I would need it. I didn't know. So anyway, that's Proud Rooster. And this next one is, I'm going to show you this. I do have a cover page for this one. It's called Let's Be My Sunshine. And it's from crossstitch.com. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of crossstitch.com. This is Ursula Michael Designs. She does a lot of the wordy type stuff. And it's the song "You Are My Sunshine." In this pattern here, there's a lot of motif type stuff stuck in here. Like these blue going across here, this motif. It had vines around some of the letters. It had this underneath these words, and it had little stars stuck, and it had little dots, and it had little flowers, and has butterflies, and it has these little squeal. I mean, it's just packed full. It was like if they found an empty spot, they stuck something in it. But the colors are not too flattering either on this pattern, so I changed the colors also. All the font on that, they're all different fonts. So it was done. It was pretty cool to see that all the words in it were of different shapes and sizes and that kind of thing. But the pattern to me was not the colors in it. They probably just created it, kind of slapped some color in it, and was like, these people are going to end up changing it anyway, so it really doesn't matter what I put in it. So, but I found out I was pregnant, and I used to sing "You Are My Sunshine" to my daughter. She was born in 2009, so she's 15 years old right now. I did this one a couple years ago. So she is my sunshine. So this is what I did to this one. I brought in more pinks and purples, brightened up the blue a little bit, and I added butterflies that were originally from the pattern, like up here. The butterflies were here. I just kind of added them here, and I added them across the bottom. I just spruced it up a little bit. And you can see how the pattern is, like I was saying, it was wrinkled from the box, so it's not too bad, but it is what it is. Anyway, I like this one right here, how it looks like the letters are big, and then they went small, and then they started getting big again. I thought that was pretty cool. But every one of the words on here, the font is different. I did backstitch every one of the letters that had, that were able to be backstitched. The pattern did not have any of the letters backstitched. And when you stitched them up, they looked kind of hollowed out, like they weren't finished. So I backstitched them to fill them in and make it look a little better. So, but that's what I did. This one I got from the crossstitch.com. I think I paid like $5 or $6 for the pattern. And I didn't tell you. So the flower shop was done on 14 count. That was in a kit. So obviously that's pretty standard for a kit of, back 30 years ago. Almost 30 years ago. Sheesh. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. The Rooster, he was done on 14 count. That was what the pattern had called for. So I just did him on the 14 count. This one, it just happened to be a piece of the 14 count Aida that I had left over from one of these other one of the other projects that I had done through the years. So I had just used, that's the reason, it's got so much, around. It was just a scrap piece that I had, that was done on 14. If you want to know what colors I used in this pattern, You Are My Sunshine, just, reach out, let me know. I have all of my stuff on bobbins, so it wouldn't be that hard to pull and figure out what colors I used. And I did, let me show you this real quick. On Sunshine, if you can see, I trimmed it in a really bright orange. All the yellow was trimmed with that bright orange. So, other than that, whatever the color was, it was backstitched with whatever color it, if the word was gray, then it used gray for backstitch. But the yellow is the only one that I trimmed with the brighter orange. But anyway, it's not top secret. If you want to know what colors I use, just say, hey, give me the colors and I'll find them for you. But that's Let's Be My Sunshine from Ursula Michael at crossstitch.com. And let's see what else I got. Yeah, the crowd pleaser. This is a Dimensions kit that I had done years ago. The cover page, it came out in 2005. I purchased this one in 2008. This one is where I learned what half stitch was, and also learned couching technique on this one. It's a 12 by 12 when it was finished, and it was completed on 18 count Aida, which was in this pattern. And obviously this cover page tells you just how old this joker is. It's been around a while. So it is like a snowy scene. You can see, the lighter pieces. It's supposed to be like snowflakes or what have you. So the detail that's in this one is I'm just stunned by, even after all these years, I'm still stunned by the amount of detail that this particular Dimensions kit. I've done a lot of Dimensions kits through the years, but the detail in this one is just so much more in depth than any of the other ones that I've done. So this is called Man's Best Friend. I call it Old Man and Dog. But this is the one that everybody is like, oh my God, will you do that one for me? And I'm like, no, it's called Can't Do Mass Production. Sorry. So this one is absolutely beautiful. The detail in it is just crazy. So everything back here in the background, this is all done in half stitch. There's like this mint green. I don't know if you can see it or not. Might be able to. There's a really light, it's like a mint green that goes across. It's like down in here some, but it goes up, and then it's like it creates a really soft shadow, but it goes all the way across. It's really pretty. So this whole back was half stitch, and the couching technique was down here in these grassy parts that go across the pattern. The detail in the dog is just crazy. Super stunned. Just totally impressed with the detail in this pattern. And look at this. It's like you could walk up and touch that man's ear. You could touch his face. It's beautiful. Walk up and pat him on the back. Look at the wrinkles in his pants. It's stunning. What a great piece. And I think this was the softest Aida I have ever had in my life. This Aida is just super Super soft. I've had nothing but stiff Ada the whole time, and you wash it and it's still stiff. But this is, I mean, it's just super soft even with all that stuff on it. But anyway, that was the Old Man and Dog. I like all of my projects, but that one has a special place in my heart. My dad was a military vet, and so it just kind of pulls on your heartstrings a little bit. My mom and dad taught us to have a lot of compassion for our older generation. So, of course, when I see this, it just takes me back to like my grandparents and kind of like the good old days. You know, you can learn so much from our older generations. But you know, it's like when they're gone, they're gone. And all the stories, all their knowledge, you know, all of it's gone with them. And it kind of stinks that it can't stick around, hang out longer. Or, you know, like people don't live like 800 years like they did in the Bible. So life is much different now. I've got two more to show you, but these are ones that I've done as gifts. And I had taken pictures of them before I had given them away. So you just overlook my handwriting. It was notes that I was making on this one. This is a birth sampler. This one came from Etsy also. This is the Etsy shop. It's Happy Nest with 2 S's. And it's called the Birth Sampler Whales, navy and gray. But this is what it looked like. So friends of ours, they live in Georgia. They had a baby in 2022. And they did the whale theme, like the real life whale theme in their room. And they gave it like a nautical type feel to his little room, his little nursery. So I found out they were doing whales in there, and I just went to Etsy and started looking up whale patterns, you know, birth samplers, that kind of thing. And this was their first baby, so I wanted to make sure that it was a memorable piece for them. Come to find out, the colors that were required in this turned out to be the exact same colors that they used in the little guy's room. So I was like, that's impressive all by itself, because I didn't know. I have a piece of Post-it note covering the little guy's last name, so it is hidden on purpose, but it's just stuck to the picture itself. So his name is Lucas Matthew, but I did do some color changing in this. In the pattern itself, they had each one of the names up here at the top in 3 different colors, and it just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I changed it. I used the darker, what's it called? Wedge wood. It's almost like a turquoise or something, but it was a dark wedge wood, I think. It's like a 3810 number, I think, on DMC 3810, I think. I could be wrong. It's somewhere in that general vicinity of the 3/8. Anyway, so that's what it looked like after it was done. It had been pressed and framed, and it was getting ready to be sent out. So I took a picture of it for my own. It was done on 14 count. Let's see if I have any other thing I need to tell you about that. It turned out to be an 11 by 14 on 14 count Ada. I just did it on the plain white Ada, so, but it matched very well. The white frame turned out really good. So I was impressed. Okay, moving on. And the last one that I have, this one is This one was given to my aunt as a gift, in memory of. So in December of 2022, my dad passed away of liver failure, and it was a very quick call. Like, they told us earlier in the year, and said, we gave him 6 months. So he made it 7. That was 3 years ago. I'm kind of like, you're never over it. I'm just kind of blocking out a whole bunch. So anyway, that's what this one was. It's Snoopy and Woodstock. My dad and my aunt had this little thing going with Snoopy and Woodstock. So apparently my dad used to call my aunt Bird Brain. I mean, she's like, 4 or 5 years younger than my dad, but they were the closest in age growing up. So he used to call her names, do the sibling-y type stuff. Anyway, this pattern came from Wild Bluebell Patterns on Etsy. I did it on just a little scrap piece of 14 count Aida. The pattern of Snoopy was just what you see is all there was. It was just the black back stitch, and he was completely hollowed out. But there was a lot of light that was filtering through all the holes in the Aida, and I didn't care for it. So I used just, the B5200, and I filled him in all the white, just to make him look a little more filled out. But he's, I believe he's like the size of like a 5x7 or maybe like a 6x8 overall. But he was placed in an 8x10 frame. I found it at Walmart for, I don't know, $6 or $7. And I took the black mat and went down the sides. So nothing super extravagant, but it did fill him out, did make him look really good. So my aunt, when I gave this to her, my aunt said this was like my dad giving her the very last hug. So she was like, she said, I appreciate this more than you'll ever know. It was just a very sweet little thing I had given her. And she was like, you made that? I said, yes, ma'am, I did. She was like, that is phenomenal. I was like, well, if you think this is good, you ought to see some of the other stuff I'm working on. So anyway, there you go, guys. That was the pieces that I wanted to show you today. Trying to wrap it up a little more, draw in, because I can talk, I can be long-winded, but I was trying to refrain a lot more. But when we get into Stitch With Me's, it'll be a little more relaxed over there. This, I was just trying to make sure that I can alleviate as much as I could of, like the extra chatter, that kind of thing. Just kind of reel it in a little bit, since I don't have a video editor to kind of cut and clip certain things in and out, or cut them out or insert things. That's what I meant. Anyway, so if there's any information that you would like to have, or whatever, let me know. I appreciate your time today, guys, and it's been fun. It's been real, and hopefully we can do it again real soon. My plans are to do a couple of videos of just breaking it down a little bit, like the stuff, what I call slow movers, I had mentioned earlier. It's little pieces, the smaller stuff that I've been working on, and that's not little pieces. I mean, they've got some size to them. They're not HAED size, but they are smaller, just random stuff. Like I have some Joy Sunday, but I don't. Well, I can't say that either. I was getting ready to say I don't have anything stamped. I'm not a huge fan of stamped stuff, but then too, it could have been the stamped kits that I had gotten, that was lots of years ago. I mean, a lot of that stuff has changed. So if I had any stamped kits, it might be a little different than what it was all those years ago. I had one, but it just seemed to be so hard to follow, the stamped kits. Even though they're easy, it's all there. But, you know, like in the pattern, like the sky, just say the whole top of it is sky. You know the sky is normally blue. Well, it's all printed yellow and you have to stitch this blue over the yellow. That kind of stuff kind of messes me up. I have ADHD, so I tend to work better when there isn't anything on the material. So normally I do counted cross stitch. Like Easy Guide, it has the grid in the fabric. That doesn't bother me. It's where you're wanting me to stitch all this blue over a completely different color. It kind of messes me up a little bit. So, but that was years ago, and it might have been just, it was kind of hard to read. So it might have something to do with how it was printed. It might have, like, if the pattern that was printed on the material was not clear, that might have been, but I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know. So I ordered it, and then I just felt more confused, and I don't know. I don't know. So it might have been the way it was printed all those years ago that kind of threw me off. So I've never ordered anything else like that. So I may have to order one just to see if it's any better than what it was all those years ago. But I have a lot of the smaller stuff. Like I said, I'm going to try to, I think what I'm going to do is going to take all of the stuff that I've had for years, and I'm going to do a video on that showing, you know, what the projects are, where they came from, that kind of thing. And then maybe do another video of all the newer, more current stuff, HAED, Artecy, the bigger projects. But want to do some stitch with me's also, like I said earlier, and just kind of chat it up and just get to know the community. I love our community. We're growing by leaps and bounds. And, you know, I think it's pretty cool to actually see men. We have men that are doing cross stitch now, and shout out to you guys too, because this has been primarily like old grandma type stuff. And I hate to hear that, that label, like, crochet, that's old granny stuff, you know. And it's not because moms and grandmas were teaching younger children way back in the day to help. So these younger kids were learning how to crochet, stitch, embroider, you know, whatever they were doing. They were being taught that stuff very early in their lives, and they continued to do it throughout. So I don't want to hear that, you know, whatever was, you know, is a granny project, or, you know, that kind of stuff. But it does have a little bit of that, I guess, that stigma behind it. But a hobby is a hobby, and it shouldn't be mocked for the view that you see. But crochet tends to be that, or knitting, that kind of stuff. But I'm glad to see that there are more men coming out into the cross stitch world and enjoying what we do. I mean, we've enjoyed it for so long, and it's like, why aren't they enjoying it too? And I'm glad to see several stitchers out here that are of the male species. So I'm glad to see you guys out here too. And I won't repeat myself again. Anyway, I appreciate your time, guys. Thank you for allowing me to come into your home for a few minutes and chat it up. And yeah, so, oh, one other thing, obviously, I'm going to mention is do the YouTubey things like the likes and subscribes and all that fun stuff. It's a free way to support not just me. You're supporting all of us floss tubers that keep bringing more content to you. So likes and subscribes are great, but it is a free way to support all of our floss tubers, so they just keep pumping in that weekly content. So thanks again, guys. Thank you. Big shout out to all of our floss tubers that inspire all of us every single day. And keep bringing that content, because we are here for it. We live for it. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Much love, hugs, happy weekend, safe weekend, happy stitching, and happy Memorial Day. Please remember what Memorial Day is all about. It's for the ones that lost their lives and were not able to come home. I will tear up really, really fast. My dad was a veteran. I told you that. He did not die in the line of duty, but just the same. It's just the same. Our military support our country and protect us at home. So please be thoughtful of them too this weekend. Anyway, I'm getting out of here before I start crying, because it won't take much. When it comes to our vets, it won't take much. So if you have service members, active, non-active, please say thank you. And the Twisted Stitcher says thank you very much for your service. Thank you, guys. Have a safe weekend. Bye.